So I'm going to do this the easy, I don't have to pay attention to it way. I have a little slow cooker. This is like a 1.5 quart slow cooker. You could use even a little dipper, those little tiny ones that come with your bigger slow cookers, and that would work just fine too. We're going to put about 1/2 cup of vegan chocolate chips in there. And then we're going to I took a heaping teaspoon of coconut oil. You can leave the coconut oil out if you are trying to eat oil-free, though I did not promise that today would be our oil-free class because it's not. We're going to use full-fat coconut milk in the butterbeer, and so it's going to start looking like this. Let me show you the overhead view, which looks like not much at all. I'm just going to break this up a little bit. Probably does nothing to do that. And we're going to put it on high for a little bit, and I'm just going to set it off to the side. I just wanted everybody to see how fast, it's not been that much time, and as I'm stirring this up, the chocolate is even melting a little bit more. And this is why you would want to do this to begin with, because it will then be ready when we are, which is really important. So now it's time for me to get to business. It's cockroach cluster time. So let me find the recipe for that, which I think is at the end. And it's really easy. So you guys, if you've got your chocolate, and you could have it on a double boiler, what that means is we could have had some water in a like a little saucepan, and maybe had a glass bowl or like a Pyrex bowl on top with the chips in. We don't want to get the chocolate mixed up with water. It's really, really easy. And actually, I'm going to put it on low or just warm now. It's easy and cheater to do it here in the slow cooker because I don't have to pay any attention to it. And right now, what I'm doing, and I'll let you see that, while I'm also looking for the recipe, you can see some of the ingredients coming out. And so just any chocolate chips that are still not all the way melted, if you start stirring them, they'll melt up really nicely. Okay. And while you're looking at that, I'm going to find the recipe. Here we go. So what you want to have some parchment paper probably, and this is what we've done. And the coconut oil really just helps it from being dull, the chocolate. But honestly, it's kind of okay either way. It can look a little bit spooky. And I don't know about you, but I am all in for the spooky. Let me get it. Okay. So I got some dates from Whole Foods that were very expensive. And then I went to Home Goods. And I got this pound of dates for $4.99. So if you're going to go get some more dates, you might look at TJ Maxx or Home Goods, because these are already pitted, so they're going to be really easy. The first thing you're going to want to do is pit some of them, and we'll get you back overhead. So we're going to make a couple. What we're going to use this parchment paper for is when we dip them in the chocolate, we're going to put them here. Now, you can use peanuts, or I'm going to open up a bag of pretzels as well. And mine are gluten-free pretzels. Yours do not have to be. It's because I can't have gluten. You could also put anything else crunchy in there, a different kind of nut. You could, get a few of these out here. And you're going to get really sticky. So don't be like me. Go get a towel or a paper towel and wet it. So, yeah, which is what I'm doing while I'm talking to you, so that we can wipe our hands back and forth as we do this, because the dates are going to make you sticky. So you can do a couple of different things. Sometimes, depending on your dates, there'll be a hole or it'll open up just like this. And I'll show you overhead. So like this one just opened right up. This one, there's a good hole right there. So I'm going to see if I can just squish the peanuts down in there. And it may, if it comes open a little bit, that's okay. It's probably only 2 to 3 peanuts. There we go. And what's kind of cool is these end up tasting just like Snickers. And I'll show you a couple of different ways we could decorate them. And see, like this one could just have, because you want to have a crunch. That's really important. Okay. So we're going to do some of these. Oh, good. See, if it's open like that, you can just come and put them in here. And it doesn't matter if it's a whole piece or a half a piece. It's totally whatever you want. And we're going to close it up a little bit. Okay, we'll set those aside. And what's really funny is any other time of the year, this would be like too healthy. Now, since this one split all in itself, I'm going to kind of put this one aside. We'll try it. Let's see if it holds together or not. I'll be the guinea pig. Okay, so I'll show you once this way. So now, depending on how hot your chocolate is, you want to be very careful. And since I can't see any of you, you could be 30, Olive, for all I know. But I'm guessing at your age that you're a little bit younger than that. So if this is really hot and on the stove, have a parent or grandparent move stuff over where it's going to be easier for you to get to. Like for me, having it out of here would be a little easier because you're probably taller than me. So I'm going to take this, and actually watching it this way is going to be a little bit easier, I think. Okay. Come along over here, cord. There we go. So I'm just going to drop it in, and I'm going to take this fork and just roll it. And then I'm putting the fork tines to the end of it and kind of shaking it as it comes along. It's okay if it falls back in. And it's okay. See? The world did not end. And then we're going to sit it on the parchment. Okay? And we're just going to repeat that. You can even put more than one in there at a time. Woo! And you could decorate it with some things, or we could leave it just like this. So I do have a few, it's hard to find these vegan, and I got these a few years ago. So a lot of the little eyes have gelatin in them. So you have to read the labels very carefully. So we could put some little eyes on this guy. And so those should dry on there. We could also, you could have them lay down, and we can see, this is my jam. Why can't I just make cockroach clusters all day long and have that be my main job, people? Actually, so see, there's the little, that's where the split is. If you can have the split at the bottom, it's more aesthetically pleasing. Now, here's the other thing. If you go to Fork and Beans, like fork, for real. She has a vegan recipe for eyes. It's a little tedious to make. You make the little sugar paste, and you let it dry, and then you put the chocolate chips in on top. So another thing you could do, well, if you had something else to sit it on, you could sit a chocolate chip or something on there too. But it's the same company that makes the ones with the gelatin. I think it was Wilton, but they are really back and forth if they make vegan ones or not. Okay. And I'm going to try something with these other ones. So I'm going to move these off. And let's get crazy. So we got cute ones. This is going to be a little harder, but I'm going to try and get a little extra chocolate. So here's what I'm going to do though. I'm going to take a little spoonful of chocolate, and I want to see if I can stick these together a little bit. Right? Because they're going to be like, hey, that's a lot for me to hold up. And so I'm like, don't worry, baby legs. I'm going to take care of you. And these are going to have to dry a little bit longer. All of these still have to dry well. So if you are in a very humid climate like I am, you don't want to make them right before you serve. You want to make them long enough to dry. So I'm going to take, I'm in here, I'm looking to see where the split is, because I want to try and have that split towards the legs. And get a little extra chocolate on this one. Okay. Let's see how that works. These are pretty thick pretzel legs. Okay, I've got my little six legs, and so this time I'm going to put a chocolate dot, because we should be able to peel this off of the parchment paper. That's why we're using the parchment paper. And here's another thing. If these aren't drying fast enough for you, you could put this whole thing into the freezer for a little bit. I don't know where you guys are all coming in from, but we have the windows and the doors open because it is not cold. So this is going to help me kind of get the legs where I want them. See how that's working? But it's still not going to hold them in perfectly. So I'm going to, again, probably putting about a half teaspoon of chocolate on these. Okay. And that should, when it dries, that should help. Now, again, feel like we're doing mad scientist stuff. Cheryl isn't seeing them, so she's coming over to look. So see, there's one. Actually, let's put cute eyes on that guy, although he's kind of falling off of that. Okay. All right. And I'm going to put a smaller guy in there. Okay. And we're going to kind of drop him down in the middle. And then, like Dawn said, you could, if you're going to do the icing piping, I would let these dry, because if not, it could just slide off. But we'll use 2 more of my hoarded vegan eyes. See, it would be better if it was a little bit drier, but I think that's working pretty good.
How long do those take to dry?
It depends on your climate and the temperature. So it could take anywhere from a half an hour to up to an hour and a half. And you can kind of see this one, like if I'm doing it this way, you really see the little baby Aragog back there. Hello.
And his eyes falling off.
Oh. It's because it's about time for us. Here, I'm going to just put him up on the top. He's not going to have real good spider eyes. He's just going to have, they're scary good. And these aren't dry, so you're not supposed to eat them, but it feels unfair for me to tell you to try something.
They got good crunch.
I think it might be the one with the pretzel. I did one with a pretzel. Then we got to eat one with the peanuts, or how are you going to know what it's like?
They're sweet.
It tastes just like Snickers, you guys. Okay. Well, again, thank you guys so much for joining in. It was my pleasure. If you're interested in some other classes that may not be Halloween, you can also look at some of the things I have at kathyhester.podia, podia.com. I do a lot of general vegan cooking classes as well, and I look forward to seeing you in my next class. Happy Halloween.